Three Demons, Book 2, Chapter 22, Slim Pickings. Yanel gave an expression that was both a mix of awe and gentleness, before she let out a soft smile, seeing Oscar reaching out to Valak in a nurturing way. Valak looked up at Oscar. Despite not being able to see his eyes through the mummy wrappings, it was clear he felt a sense of gratefulness at Oscar's kind gesture. I've met many demons in my lifetime, and I've never met any as kind as you are, Yanel exclaimed, garnering a warm smile on her face. Oscar jumped, not expecting Yanel to know that she was a demon. How could you? She tried to mutter up the words to respond, but couldn't manage to do so. I'm able to see and sense the spirit of any being, regardless of where they originate in the supernatural world. The moment you and your allies entered these ruins, I knew exactly what and where you were. I also knew you were followed by 4 other entities as well. I'd say fallen angels. Yanel revealed, causing Randy's tone to become more serious. Oscar, we gotta go. Randy instructed, making his way out of the chamber. And where do you think you're going? Yanel asked, her expression a mix of curiosity and disbelief. You just said fallen angels followed us in here. We can't just stay here and let the others get attacked by them. Randy responded, his facial expression adding a subtle hint of impatience. Yanel's expression softened as she responded, Look, even if I were to let you leave, you already know that the ruins are both unpredictable and dangerous. Now add those 4 into the mix and it'll be too much, even if you possess immense power deep down. Guys, I'm starting to feel a bit violated. Joseph chimed in, the subconscious. Oscar then proceeds to chime in into the conversation herself. Randy is right, though. We can't just abandon them and risk them getting killed. Suddenly, Valak, who had been observing the conversation, begins to approach Randy, crawling towards him like an animal would. Valak looked straight at Randy as he began making rattling noises, causing Randy to tilt his head in confusion. Yanel's eyes widen, her expression changing as she finds herself in shock. Valak? Yanel smiles. It seems you've triggered something in him. He wants to help you. Isn't that right, Valak? Valak's rattling began growing more insistent, a clear sign of his intentions. Yanel turns her gaze to Randy, her expression a mix of awe as well as gratitude. All these years that I've known Valak, I've never seen him so interested in giving any sort of help to any sort of aid to others. She then turns to Oscar. It seems your kind gesture really meant something to him. Randy, despite being taken aback by the odd man's unexpected gesture, he reaches his hand out to Valak, who then places his own wrapped hand on top of his, securing the alliance between the two. Honestly, teaming up with a mummy. Did not expect that, but it's fucking awesome, Joseph screamed out in excitement. Oscar, who had been watching the exchange, couldn't help but notice Randy's discomfort with physical contact. Something she's noticed has caused him to switch alters to Jake whenever they were together the few months they've known each other. She moved closer to him, her presence causing him to blush and look down, not knowing how to react. Wait, isn't Jake supposed to be in control now? Joseph asked, looking around the subconscious, only to find Jake sitting against the edge, blushing at the scene in front of them. Come on, man, do your fucking job! Joseph demanding, loomed over Jake comically. Jake closed his eyes as his blush intensified. Not happening. Joseph became frustrated. Our boy is clearly not ready. Look at him, he's freezing up! What else are you here for other than to be an asshole? Jake refused to respond to that last comment, causing Joseph to take matters in his own hands. Meaning he goes over to Randy, grabbing him by both shoulders and shaking him profusely. All right, Randy, you've got this. You're a 16-year-old teenager who needs to learn how to handle women. Oscar leaned her head against Randy's arm, causing him to become more flustered. Yanel let out a soft giggle, seeing the two of them in front of her. Her wings fluttered slightly as she decided to help Randy out by gesturing for the group to follow her. It'll be safer for us all if I help guide you to your allies. Just make sure you stay close and be on guard. Randy and Oscar both nod as they follow Yanel and Valak through the passageways of the ruins. Randy still feeling a bit uneasy after Oscar was closer to him than he's used to. Yanel casts a light spell, lighting their way through the passageways as they hurry to the closest ally near them. As they continued moving forward, an unsettling aura began to emanate the area. Yanel's tone and expression grew more alert as she spoke. We need to hurry. The 2 beings I mentioned earlier being in pain, their essence are starting to fade. Alter switched to Joseph. Suddenly, Yanel squeals as she feels Joseph grab her and throw her over his shoulder along with Oscar and Valak being carried under his arms. Then there's no time to waste then. We gotta book it. Yanel's face became flushed with frustration. What do you think you're doing? Joseph's sudden burst of action startled Asuka and Yanel, whilst Valak just looked up at him out of curiosity. Asuka's surprised yelp was quickly followed with a giggle, her initial shock going away when she realized how absurd the moment was. Well, you said we needed to hurry. This is the best way to do it. Now make sure I stay on the right track. Joseph responds to Yanel as she tries to put together everything that is going on, not used to Joseph's animated personalities. Wait, what? Duck! Yanel went on to question Joseph more, but before she could, she sensed a log trap get set off, having to quickly warn Joseph before he got crushed. See what happens when you don't listen? We could have died there, Joseph stated, his tone sharing that of what a teacher would. Yanel hangs her head down as she gives up on trying to figure Joseph out and his actions. Joseph, you're a fucking genius. Using the sense of danger as an excuse to have two beautiful women close to you is the best thing you've come up with yet, Jake exclaimed, his face a mix of perversion and pride. I really don't think that's why he did it, Randy responded to Jake, bearing a blank expression. It wouldn't be as fun for me if they had to run after me. With this, I get a good workout, Joseph said with glee in his voice. With Yanel's guidance along with Joseph's unpredictable, if unorthodox method of transportation, the group quickly made their way through the twisting passageways. In the subconscious, Randy looked at the scene in front of them, seeing Asuka being so close to him, even if Joseph is the one in control of the body. He began to think to himself, almost losing himself in thought before Joseph chimed in loudly. Thinking about Asuka, aren't you? Don't act bashful now. We know when we're lying to each other, so there's no point. Joseph spoke to Randy as he looked on. Randy nodded, that being enough for Joseph to smirk at Randy's response. Joseph, are you sure you know where you're going? Asuka's voice was lighthearted, a playful yet panic undertone coloring her words. Joseph shrugged, wielding a big grin on his face. Of course I do. Plus, if I get lost, it's not my fault. I'm just following the Harpy's lead here. And so far, she hasn't led us into any more spike pits. Yanel's voice carried a hint of amusement from her perch on Joseph's shoulder. If you doubt my ability to guide us, I might purposely lead you into one. Oh, I'd love to see you try. If I fall, I promise I'm not letting go of you, Joseph playfully threatened her as he chuckled in amusement. As the group continued their mad dash through the ruins, they began to hear faint echoes of cries and whispers. The closer they got to their destination, the more pronounced the sounds became, their haunting quality sending shivers down their spines as Joseph's playful demeanor quickly began to disappear. End of Chapter 22.